All right, welcome back to the Tailgate Connect podcast. I am your host, Luke Lord with Tailgating Challenge. I love all things tailgating, and tonight we're going to talk to a guy that also loves tailgating, Ryan with the Utah Pig Bus. We're going to talk about why he has the best tailgate and the best view in all of Utah, and we're going to get behind the scenes with his ESPN College Game Day and meeting former coach Urban Meyer. Stay tuned to find out more.
Gather round tailgaters, hear the call, it's game day, y'all. Let's have a ball across the states from college to NFL. Tailgate Connect's got a story to tell.
Welcome back to the Tailgate Connect podcast, your home for all things tailgating related. And today we have a special and friend of the show, Mr. Ryan Lufkin with the Utah Pig Bus. Ryan, what up?
What's going on, Luke? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So I remember, Ryan, I feel like last time we were tailgating, you came down for the Baylor-Utah game. And I remember the last things we were doing, we were fishing for beers out of
We
a cooler.
were, in fact, yes, which is, I actually love that. There was what was that cool tool that we were using to it was like a little toy fishing rod and a little magnet. It was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. So I was like, next time, because again, I think I'm going to see you again. Are you coming for the Utah Baylor game this year?
It's to be determined. I'm traveling a lot for work, which is throwing wrenches into my plans, but it's on the potential list. West Virginia is also one of the potential away games, so trying to figure out that where it will be in the world at that day.
Because I'm assuming at some point we need a rematch of who can catch the biggest lunker, aka the biggest beer out of the cooler.
Yes, exactly. Those tall boys, get away from you.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so Ryan, like I said, we're here to chop it up with all things tailgating.
Yeah.
And so from what I know about you, I haven't been to your tailgating spot yet. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But the first thing, so you have is Utah Pig Bus. And first thing I want to know is, when did this start?
So it was funny. We went the first time University of Utah played Michigan in the Big House in Michigan. It was 2002. And we went out to the game, and every square inch of grass 4 miles around had a tent and a grill. And it wasn't just to show up for the game. It was a make a day of it and have 6 extra holidays a year, right? And so we were like, why are we not doing this? And at the time, there was a small contingent of tailgaters who'd been doing it for a while, and we were like, no, we're jumping on board. And so I think we listed our official start date as 2004, but that's I think really when we got the bus. But before that, we bought a trailer and said, okay, we're just gonna go on campus and set up. And we went up and roasted a pig, and we had the university call us and say, can you please move over to the official tailgate lot? Your party is too big. And so
Hey, that's a good call to have.
If you'll give us a pass. And they said, yeah. And so we went, okay, we'll move on over. So that's kind of where it all started.
Heard you were cooking a pig, and it's called the Utah Pig Bus. So I feel like, tell me more about the pig.
So it's so funny. I had a coworker send me this article I think it was in the New Yorker, and it was on the La Cachine, which you may be familiar with, which is a pig roasting box, a company out of Florida, and it's a Cuban style cooking box. And she sent me this and was like, "You need this, right?" Because I was already really into barbecue, doing a lot, and I said, "Okay," and it was $150, I think, at the time. So he said, "Yeah, buy one." Bought one, and I think we roasted one in my backyard, and then we roasted one at that, at our first tailgate. And then Welby Evangelista, who's my partner from the very beginning in all this, he sent Urban Meyer every version of his email that he could think of. He sent a note and said, "Hey, we want to cook pig for all of the Polynesian members of the team. If you don't know, Utah's got the Poly Pipeline. We've got a lot of Tongan, Fijian, Samoan, Hawaiian members of the team." And he got an email back from Urban Meyer that said, "Yeah, let's do it." Next thing you know, we're roasting a pig in Urban Meyer's backyard for the team, and it was the big buzz from thereafter. It just became kind of what we were known for. And so every year for one game, usually it's the rivalry game or one of the big ones towards the end of the season when it's cooler. We roast a big pig, and it's a bit of a spectacle.
So I didn't know I was going to go this direction, but I feel like tell me more about Urban Meyer off camera and off screen. Do you have any stories from the cookouts?
I mean, we hung out. I mean, Shelly Meyer still follows us on Instagram and likes our posts and comments every once in a while. Urban was one of those guys that you walk into a room and he just has a presence. He's the coach. Like we walked into his house and he made us feel at home, but he was also like very clearly the boss. And so it was, just welcoming. He had such a, for the University of Utah, we'd been a Mountain West Conference team, right? Uh, kind of mediocre seasons, and he came on board and he took the University of Utah to the next level. He pulled all of the workout equipment out of the workout room, put it on the side of the field, side of the practice field, and he had those guys doing practices and then hitting the weights and back practices and throwing up on the sideline. And when he was our coach, we were the number one fourth quarter team in the country. We scored more in the fourth quarter than any other team because we just had more juice. When he left and when Coach Whittingham came in, a lot of the players were like, that's too much. We're going to quit if you keep doing that. Right. And so they dialed it back to a more reasonable level. But it was funny how much of an impact that had on the ability to, for our team to just go full throttle. And you saw that in the Fiesta Bowl win and the Sugar Bowl win against Alabama. I like to remind everybody that Utah beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl.
I see you called that out pretty
People
specifically
people
towards
like to
Alabama
forget
right
about
there.
that. I've actually had people say, "You never beat Bama," and we're like, "Oh yes, we did. I was there. I was in New Orleans for it." So I ring it up whenever I can.
Now, Ryan, let me ask you this question. So I'm assuming, but I hate to assume anything. Are you always pulled for Utah? Has that been your school growing up? Did you go there?
Yeah, I went to the University of Utah. So I was born in Las Vegas, lived in Minneapolis as a kid, moved to Utah, went to junior high and high school here, and then eventually college. And so Utah's really always been my team. I've always had a soft spot for UNLV. My dad loved Coach Tark, Jerry Tarkanian down at UNLV back in the Running Rebels days, and um, you know. So I've got a little soft spot for UNLV, but really Utah's been my team. I went to the University of Utah. I met my wife there. My daughter is now entering her junior year at the University of Utah. So it's a family. My whole family on both sides really goes back a bit with being Utah fans, and we're part of a big holy war. And in Utah, it's really divided. You are a Utah fan or you're a BYU fan, and the people that try to straddle both lines don't get a lot of love from either side.
You got to pick one if you
You
live in
pick a
Utah,
side
right?
and you defend your side. That's how it is.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What do you remember your earliest tailgating memory? How old were you at your first tailgate you ever went to?
Oh, geez. You know what? It was not a university tailgate. I was in Minnesota, and we went to a Vikings Packers game when they still had their first outdoor stadium. Like we're 2 domes in now, right? So this ages me quite a bit. And it was the coldest. I remember walking through this parking lot and seeing these people grilling bratwurst. I remember specifically this one guy grilling bratwurst, and I'm like, "What are they doing? It's so cold. This is terrible." And but I was like, there's something to this. Like these people are having so much fun standing out in this bitter cold before this football game. That was the first tailgate experience I ever had. And then when I was in college, we'd tailgate a little bit, but it was not. I think what's so interesting is, Utah has a lot of weird reputations because of the predominant religion here. And what people don't understand is we don't have a dry county. We don't have a dry city in Utah. And there's a drinking culture. We have some weird laws that they change every once in a while. But the University of Utah has been an amazing partner in tailgating, right? They really want to foster that game day experience. And Mark Harlan is our current athletic director, has been, I mean, he comes to the bus. We got pictures of him up on top of the roof deck with, throwing up the U. They're just great partners in it. And so Utah gets a little bit of a weird rap, but it was funny. We had the team, folks from Florida, here, and I'm gonna throw some shade at the Vandy fans, but the Florida fans were like, "You guys know how to tailgate. How do we kick Vanderbilt out of the SEC and get you guys in here?" And we're like, "Well, hold our
Hey,
own. We know how to tailgate, right?" So and people, I think that's what people are most surprised by. They show up at we have what's called the Guardsman tailgate lot, and it is a huge parking lot, and it's buses and RVs and smokers, and people show up and go, I had no idea that Utah actually tailgated like this. And we're also incredibly welcoming. That's one thing I think you and I talked about that a lot. It's something that right off the bat you and I bonded over is we want to make sure that when you come to our house you have a good time. And so that when we come to your house, you treat us right, right? That's something from the very beginning. So it's funny, we'll invite people in I'm like, grab a beer, grab some food. And they're like, why? Like we don't
What
fully
did you do to
trust.
it?
Yeah, we don't fully trust you. We're like, we want to make sure you have a good time. Come on in. And so we've got fans that like end up hanging out with us the whole time, and they'll send us emails and just be like, hey, when you come visit us, like let us know. We'd love to take you. And like, so it's just that's the kind of like fun camaraderie we want to foster. And I think that's something that you've always done a great job of. The folks at Tailgate Connect do a great job of that as well. It's making it a truly fun experience with food and drinks, and everybody leaves going, wow, that was a great day.
That's my favorite kind of day, right? Is
Yeah,
a tailgating
exactly.
day out there. Sorry, so let's say somebody goes on to tailgateconnect.com. They buy a couple of tickets to come out to the Utah Pig Bus tailgate. What can they expect when they show up?
Yeah, we're known for doing kind of over the top food, everything from bacon explosions to the whole hogs that we talked about to legs of lamb. We've done fry everything. Like we really want to make really good food. I don't really trust anybody else to do the food, so it's me and Steve Kirk, who's like my little brother. You'll hear us bickering over the prep for food. My wife does a lot of the stuff behind the scenes. Amanda Lufkin does not get enough credit for her work that we do. But we do just amazing setup from a food standpoint. We always have as long as you're not there an hour before the game, we may be out of food by then. But we do a lot of food. We're sponsored by, or we're not sponsored. We're not sponsored. We have good friends at Traeger. We've got good friends at Bohemian Brewing and a couple of the other local brewers and a great cider place. And so there's always plenty to drink and eat. And our goal, we take donations that help fund the bus, but like it's one of those pieces of we just want to have a good time and make sure everybody else has a good time. Last year, I think you saw we added a roof deck to the
Oh, yeah.
bus. So now we officially have the best view in the tailgate lot. And if you've seen the Utah mountains, you know that that's saying something. And it's one of those climb upstairs, listen to some great music, eat some food, and enjoy the day.
So how many people on average are at one of your tailgate parties?
We feed about 60 to 100, right? Um, there's the crowds get big sometimes, right? Like
I've seen some videos out
we
there. I was
sometimes
like, man,
lose
there's a lot of
count,
people.
yes, but yeah, we usually should like serve about 60 to 100. And the cool thing about our tailgate too is that the people right across from us. Albert Gamboa has a great tailgate. This is right across from us on one side. Ed Cable has one on the other side. So we've got a neighborhood. It's not just a tailgate in and of
It's
itself.
even better.
It's a neighborhood, right? And so we'll have live bands. We'll have DJs up on top. We had our first live band on the roof deck last year, and everything from like Johnny Cash cover bands to Guns N' Roses cover bands to local bands. Like it's actually really fun. Um, and it's something that takes, cooperation with your neighbors because it gets a little loud, gets a little crowded, and our neighbors all partake in that. And then we do one game a year, we do a Chili Verde cook-off, Chili Verde battle. There's a spot over there on my wall that my plaque is not currently because, I won the first 2 years and then, came in second last year. I'm hoping to regain my crown this year. But it's, just finding those opportunities to build camaraderie with the neighbors as well.
For sure. So, I mean, now that you said that, like, have you been training? Have you been pulling out some unique tips and tricks to try to take the crown back?
I would say, because I've been traveling a lot for work lately. So I was just in Australia. I was in Colombia before that. So I'm collecting spices from around the world to, bring a little more exotic flavor this year to my chili verde. So we'll see how that goes.
Excellent, excellent. Well, again, at the time of this recording, I have not had dinner yet, so I'm already getting hungry based on all the food selections you have put out there with it. And you kind of alluded to this, but just to reinforce it one more time, 'cause I think this is important because there's probably fans that might be tuning into this episode, be like, I don't have on the Utah colors. I'm coming as an opposing fan. Like, am I going to get put in the corner of the roof bus and just like they'll throw me a beer and say you stay over here, or like how like are we making everybody feel like welcome regardless of colors or whoever they're pulling for?
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those things where we had TCU in last year, and I remember talking to some of their fans, and I said, people are going to be like disconcertingly nice to you. You're going to be like kind of freaked out by it, but realize it's genuine and they actually want to like get to know you and hang out with you. And then later on, right before the game started, I had one of the guys sit down and he's like, "Oh my God, you were like so spot on. Like people are so nice." And like when you like don't aren't mistrusting of it, it really makes for a good opportunity. So everybody you'll get to know you. Honestly, you'll leave with friends emails and phone numbers because people want to connect beyond that, and it's just a good group of people. We've done it for now for over 20 years. Crazy, but like the people that have stuck with us and are we've kept around are the ones they're just great folks. They're people we've known for years, and it's easy to kind of jump in and be part of the family pretty quickly. We hear that a lot.
No doubt, no doubt. All right. So with that, tell me, like, we talked about food, and obviously food and a little bit of drinks is part of that. But like, talk to us like when it's cold, when it's hot. Is there televisions? Are there yard games? Like, what does that look like for the complete tailgate
Yep, yep.
experience?
We're in the process of adding a television. I don't know if we'll have it done by this season, but our neighbors on both sides do. And like I said, it's a neighborhood, so that everybody's always welcome there. We've always got cornhole. We've always got different games out there that we get introduced by you and other members of the tailgate community, and so it's trying to think what else is there to do. We have a very stocked bar, and then just like I said, it's not just us that are that welcoming. Like as you walk around the tailgate lot, we encourage everybody to go do a loop. You'll get handed shots. You'll get people. Unless you're wearing BYU gear, that's the one thing.
Here it comes.
They
Here
are
it
less
comes.
they are less welcoming if you're wearing. Especially every once in a while, you have people that show up in like BYU gear when we're playing someone completely different. You're like, you will not get a good reception that way. That is not one that will go well for you. So don't recommend that. But yeah, there's always the shot ski because we are a ski town. You'll always have the shot ski out there somewhere. There's a lot to do. It's fun.
Excellent, excellent. All right. So tell me this. So do you do all home games? Is it pretty fair to say you're out there for the home games if people want to come?
We're there for every home game. Yeah, I think this one. Uh, we're having some chef difficulties on the first game against Cal Poly this year, so that might be a pizza game. We might not be as inventive for that one, but we'll make up for the next 5 games for sure. And yeah, I mean, and depending on when the games are, we get there pretty early. If we're cooking a pig, we're there awful early. We're there the night before, and we have people come by and visit us as we're sitting in the parking lot by ourselves roasting our pig, and a little
That'd
boring.
probably be me, right? I'd be like,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, what up?
But it's fun, like we always do the pig like when one of the later games in the year when it's cold because it becomes the fire pit as well. It smells delicious and it keeps you warm at the same time. But yeah, yeah. And then my buddy who's I've got a buddy who's actually a professional DJ who swings by and does a couple games a year as well. So it's always there's always something.
Excellent. Now, Ryan, I remember, I feel it was like a couple of years ago. Were you featured on ESPN with the pig bus? Is that a fair statement?
We have actually done game day twice. We've served the food on game day twice. And I mean, you can go to utahpigbus.com or our Instagram page, and we got photos of it. But we were actually the first tailgate to ever take a whole pig on stage, which pissed off a lot of people in the South. We got a lot of from folks from Louisiana and North Carolina who challenged us at that point. And then the next year we made bacon bowls. We were playing Washington, so we made bacon bowls with funeral potatoes, which is a Utah delicacy, and then scrambled eggs and smoked salmon and smoked asparagus, and served that on stage. So, yeah, we've been on the show twice. It was really fun. I think it's something that hopefully we have a chance to do again in the future. We get a lot of TV interviews, a lot of local and ESPN interviews. When you have the best view in the tailgate lot, they tend to want to come visit you, and
Helps.
take some pictures.
Yeah, so I know, like, one of the things is still, like, I've done a lot of fun things in the tailgating journey, but still, like, ESPN College Game Day is still one of my bucket list items to do
Yeah.
something with.
Yes.
So, what does that look like? Like, where did you just get an email out of the blue, or, like, how did that come to fruition? 'Cause I think it's such a cool thing to know, like, what's the background behind it?
Well, I mean, so we used to cook pigs for the team. So we know a lot of folks in the athletic department, and we're very reliable, right? And so they know that we'll show up, we'll do what we're supposed to do, and we like this, we know how to talk, we speak to the media and give sound bites and do that kind of thing. And so we would get a call and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And the first time I was like, well, but you're lying to me. You're pulling my leg. And I was flying back, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. And then Jeff Rudy, who works for the athletic department, called me and was like, "No, it's real." And I was like, "Oh, oh, I guess we have to figure out what we're gonna do." The second time, I was like, "No, you're totally lying. Like this, there's no way they'd have us do it again." But it's one of those things. There's no energy like that game day energy, right? The people are up the night before, camping out overnight. There's a whole group of people. All of a sudden, before the sun comes up, people are getting in line, and there's just so much excitement, so much energy. And even we didn't serve, they didn't have a local food provider this last time we had game day. But we went up all night and cooked a pig and a bunch of other stuff and fed everybody in the morning. And it's crazy, the energy and how many people it pulls. And and again, it's just that, like, camaraderie and excitement at a kind of a next level, and they do a great job of pulling people in, and the cameras are flying overhead over the bus and doing cool stuff. So they're always doing something, like, to keep the audience engaged and fired up. So yeah, if you have a chance to go to game day, if you're school, do not miss it. Get up there
No
early.
doubt.
Make every effort to be part of it, because it really is just it's an awesome time.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so we know when you're at Utah, you're having a good time. It's probably one of the best destinations, in your opinion. But I also know you travel for some games and go to those. So I'm going to say, Ryan, what are the top maybe three places you've been outside of Utah? You say, this was an amazing tailgating experience.
Yeah, I mean, I have to give Michigan props for just the sheer volume and also friendliness, right? Really welcoming people in. They were fantastic. We had a great time at Baylor, honestly. I mean, it was so hot. I thought we were gonna melt.
Was there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it was so hot, but it was also like it was a fun experience. Like great food. That was a fun one. Um, who would I give third place to? Uh, Honestly, University of Washington and their Sailgate is
For sure.
pretty hard to beat. Like it's pretty cool up there. Just kind of a different experience that was fun. I think it very welcoming and cool to the Pig Bus crew.
No doubt, no doubt. Now, if I flip the script and say, is there a stadium or tailgating event that you would never go back to again? What would you tell me?
Well, they happened to be our first game of the season, but I was not treated well by our fans at UCLA. And as much as I
Oh,
love the Rose Bowl when they played Ohio State a couple of years ago was a fantastic experience. The first time I went to UCLA, it was not, and as much as that is a historic stadium and amazing, the fans were not my favorite by any means. And so, maybe we just caught them on a bad day, but not as welcoming as I generally like. Which is funny because they had thrown so much shade at USC fans, and by and large, I've had a good experience at USC. So, but kind of the opposite there. So almost, it's hard to say though, because some people take the rivalry stuff a little too far, or take the talking a little too far. But yeah, I'd go back to um the Coliseum probably before I'd go back to the Rose Bowl.
so basically, if anybody from UCLA ever listens to this podcast, they need to roll out the red carpet and bring you back and show you what it's all about there.
I would be happy for them to show me, to prove me wrong and show me a good time. It's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful campus. It's just, the fans just weren't the kindest. And we always look for people that are like, there's no reason to treat visiting fans poorly. It's just a silly way to go.
All right, do you have a bucket list tailgate that you haven't been to, but you're like, man, I really, really want to go to that particular school?
Yeah, I've been talking to my niece's her boyfriend's from New Orleans, and he's a big LSU fan. And so I would love to go to Baton Rouge and actually experience an LSU tailgate. I've been on LSU's campus and in their stadium when during the off season, but I've never actually been there for the tailgate experience. And we recently did uh, crawfish boil in my backyard for the family. He wanted to show the family some Creole love, and so we did one, and it'd be fun to do that in game day. In Florida, we went to Florida, a couple of years ago, and that was a fun experience. By and large, those fans were great. It was so moist. So like
Moist.
just I don't
Humid.
know how else to
Humid.
describe it. We got rained on going in, and we're sitting in that stadium, and that stadium is so huge, and people are packed in, and you could see the steam rising. Like, so it was a great time, but like we came home and everybody was just like, I've got prune fingers, and I've only been standing outside. Maybe it's that Utah fans don't, we have no humidity. We're not used to any sort of moisture at all.
No, it's total night and day there. I've been to Utah. It
Uh-huh.
is bone dry out there. You go to the swamp. They call it the swamp for a
It
reason,
is
right? You go to the
swampy for
swampy
sure.
down
Yeah.
there. All right.
uh,
So let's pick your brain with what you personally enjoy. If I said, Ryan, you can have any food on your plate at a tailgate, you don't have to worry about cost, making it anything. It's just going to show up on your plate. What would that tailgating food be for you personally?
ooh, okay. I always like to try something local, right? Like some sort of something local if that's an option, right? So if you're going to North Carolina, you want to try some pulled pork, you want to, Texas, you want brisket, that kind of thing. You want to try the locals take on something. I like kind of weird things too, but you can't go wrong with brisket. I just think a well-cooked brisket is
Good.
about the best thing you can have. Like when it falls apart and you can just, it's fantastic. Brisket and like, uh, yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say our funeral potatoes, which is funny. Funeral potatoes are like a casserole where it's like shredded potatoes and like a bechamel sauce, and then you put potato chips on top, like crispy
Okay.
potato chips,
I don't
and
know if I've ever had that or heard of that dish before,
it is
honestly.
a Utah thing. It's like what you bring a bowl of this to like somebody's family when somebody dies, right? And it's a delicious thing. So I would put like brisket and a side of funeral potatoes are about the best thing I can imagine.
I mean, I feel like not to get too far off track here. I'm like, funeral potatoes is your favorite. I feel like I would have such a negative connotation that if that was something that was part of it, I'd just be like, I would
Luke,
think
all you have
negative
to do
thoughts
is
every time I saw it.
you eat them once and you'll be like, it's just the perception changes. Funeral
Okay,
potatoes
okay.
are fantastic. And they, my wife, I think you can make it with canned stuff. My wife makes them from scratch, and like we will. There's times when we make giant trays of this stuff and it's all gone, and I'm like, who ate all of that? Like I mean, there's so much of it, and people just love it. So yeah, it's a go-to. It's one of those. Utah's not known for a lot like Jello and ice cream and funeral potatoes. Fry sauce. We got fry sauce too.
Learn something new every day. Learn something new every day. All right, so you got your brisket, you got your funeral potatoes over there. What's in your cup?
Oh, I lately I've been drinking. We've got a great cider company here, that is. Although I drank a few too many of them last time, and before I realized they were 8% alcohol, and I was like, I thought I was being good at drinking low point ciders, and so if you saw me at that game, I apologize. But I honestly, I like a lot of different stuff. Like our neighbors always have a tradition of bringing us over a shot of moonshine, and there's another place that melts Neapolitan ice cream and mixes it with vodka, which is remarkably good. Like I love that. There's a guy that brings around. He soaks gummy worms in some sort of alcohol and then brings them around all the tailgates. It's a
Doesn't
fun,
sound terrible.
no, it's a fun tradition. But honestly, like if I had a go-to beer, it's the Bohemian Brewing here in Salt Lake does a Czech Pilsner, which is just a nice drinkable beer that
For sure.
I
Keep
tend
it
to
ice
drink all
cold and
day.
it's ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I like a good Bloody Mary in the morning, I like or a mimosa. Not a bad way to start the day either.
For sure, for sure. All right, so you got your drink, you got your food. After that, you want to get into the competitive spirit of some tailgating yard games. What's your favorite game to play?
Honestly, cornhole is the tradition, right? Like it is just it's one of those there's a lot of ladders and different fun games, but you just everybody thinks they're good at cornhole. And so you're like, okay, let's go. Yeah, and then you get those people that get so pissed because they're like, I'm usually so good. Something's wrong with your cornhole boards. You're like, it's the boards. That's
I
totally it.
mean, the more I've learned about this, like there are big differences between boards and bags, but
There
also the
are.
too that like people like have started to take this court like super, super
Well,
serious to the point of
as
like it's not fun sometimes playing
as
with
soon
certain
as it
people.
showed up on ESPN, right? Bush's Baked Beans was sponsoring all these teams, like it
Yeah,
became a
they still are.
legit competitive sport, right? And so, but yeah, honestly, I think it's hard to beat that game just because it's so much fun. Everybody knows how to play. Everybody, we have fans from Europe that come over, and you don't have to explain the rules; they know. So it's great.
One on the board, three in the hole. Toss the bag,
Exactly.
switch 7 feet.
It's exactly it.
What's the one piece? Because I'm sure you probably have a lot of tailgating gear.
Yeah.
What's the one piece of gear you're like, man, this is my favorite. I use it the most. Like I gotta have it at the tailgate. What piece of tailgating gear is that?
I mentioned the Cachine because that is a just a great tool, but it doesn't cook everything. The
Sure.
Blackstone flat top is the
Okay.
single most used. It's just one of those. The flat top is you can put a pot on it, you can do grilled cheese on it, you can do eggs, like it's just so versatile. It's hard to beat that one. And our Blackstone has held up pretty well. Blackstone, if you're listening, it's getting a little dated and we can absolutely use a new one.
Shameless plug, and I love it.
Shameless plug, which works, more than you'd think. So I don't
Never
know.
know. Shoot your shot, right?
But yeah, honestly, it's one of those, and whatever brand it is, but like Blackstone makes a really great one, and it's, we use the heck out of it. I think we have it out for every game.
Give us one tip for those that maybe have never utilized that grilling or cooking service before that you would say, you do this one thing, you're gonna get a better cook.
Geez, like you've got to maintain your cooking surface, right? They get pretty beat up over time, but like oiling it and seasoning it and making sure that it's clean and try to keep this, the because they'll rust if you leave them outside. You gotta take care of these tools, and so that one, as long as you keep your surface clean, you're gonna have a good result. And then like anything else, things get. That's the only problem with tailgating. You're moving stuff in, you're moving stuff out. Stuff gets pretty beat up, right? And that's
It
why
happens.
yeah, and so that's why, being a little cautious with it and try to treat it, it's got ours has a special place in the bus where we put it against the wall and strap it in, right? To try to keep it from bouncing around. Like, yeah, so the more you can kind of, I think a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of the like you've got a grill in your backyard, you've got a smoker in your backyard. It's another level when you're tailgating and you're loading that stuff into the back of a vehicle and hauling it around and it gets beaten up. I mean, we tailgaters go through equipment faster than any other kind of I can't imagine. Even like professional barbecue folks. Like I don't think it gets beaten up as much as the tailgate stuff does because
Probably not.
it's not always being loaded by the people that are supposed to be loading it and things like
Yeah, or
that.
they might have had a couple ciders before they loaded,
Yes,
right?
exactly. And I know they were trying to be helpful, but that's not where that goes, right? Oh, you took that apart. That doesn't come apart. You should not take that apart, right? Like, things like that. So whenever that's one thing too. I think whenever people make products for tailgating, it's hard to over engineer something, make it strong, but also light enough to be movable and that kind of thing. So I've been a little overwhelmed or underwhelmed by some of the tailgate figure quotes, like smokers and stuff. They're just too fragile. They don't hold up under the abuse we give them.
Fair enough. That's what you need to put that on your channel. It's like, and
Honestly,
here are our grill reviews, our smoker reviews.
I am happy to give you, field test any of the smokers that you want, or cooking equipment in general, and give you feedback on how to make them more bulletproof.
Boom. Hopefully, people are actually shooting them at the tailgate.
It's Utah, we got a lot of guns out here. I don't know.
Oh boy, that goes into to my next question is so one of the terms that I utilize like during tailgating season instead of tailgating is called failgating, where basically something horrible went wrong at the tailgate. Do you have a tailgating moment, whether it was you or just somebody at the tailgate that it happened and it still sticks out in your memory today?
There's two. One is I was using the Cachine to cook potatoes to do a baked potato bar, and I undercooked potatoes, so I just ended up serving chili. How do you undercook potatoes? I'm a professional. Like that was like
It's
truly
a
this fail.
potato.
Yes, and then the other one is a more serious story, but we had a it actually involves a couple of fans wearing BYU gear.
There we
But we
go.
actually had a friend of the pig bus who was assaulted outside of he came out of the restrooms and out in the tailgate lot and had words with a couple of guys, and the guy walked up behind him and sucker punched him, and he actually had a suffered a traumatic brain injury. But the good aspect of it is his dad reached out to me and said, "Hey, this happened at towards the end of the tailgate yesterday. I don't think a lot of people saw it, but we need help finding these folks. Can you help us?" And we posted out on social media, and within 30 minutes, we knew exactly who it was. We had witnesses, and they were arrested and charged with assault the next day. And it's one of those things where you're like, I love that aspect about tailgating, that community aspect of it, where you come into our neighborhood and you do something bad, it doesn't fly, right? Like we're gonna hold you accountable. And so that was one of those like terrible story, and he's fine, by the way. He's fully
Okay, that was my
recovered,
next
and
question is like,
yes, he's
is
fully
he
recovered,
okay?
and
Okay, good.
and doing quite well. I think they had their second or third child recently, right? So definitely like a scary experience, but the fact that we were able to come together that way is really incredible. Like in 30 minutes we had him. That one we actually got on the news for that one because they were like, "That's a really great story." I'm like, "It was a good story."
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. What instead of neighborhood watch, the tailgate watch, right? They're out there
I mean,
watching.
honestly, it is, and the funny part is, every once in a while you see troublemakers come in, and people like we look at our neighbors look at us, and we all have eyes on everybody. Like it doesn't fly, and it's I'm not a small kid. I'm 6'4", 280, and so
I've met you. I looked up
yes,
to you.
stuff people don't get out of hand much at our tailgate because we just don't let it fly, and that's I think that's the other thing too. The university is really great. The police officers on campus, they're amazing, and they work with us, and we feed them. Like I always tell them, we're gonna eat it. We're eating at 4 o'clock. We're doing brisket. We're doing whatever. Come by 4, and they'll come over and eat, and it's a kind of that mutual respect piece that we police our area, we make sure we don't have problems, and they are our friends because of it. So
Good stuff. Good
yeah.
stuff. All right. Let me ask you this: favorite Utah player of all time?
Oh, that's an easy one. Alex Smith. So Alex
Smith,
Smith,
49er. I'm a
quarterback.
49ers fan, so I loved him too.
Yes, he was amazing, and I wish he would have found his footing at San Francisco, but he ended up finding his footing in Kansas City, and famously handed the reins to Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes had nothing but amazing things to say about Alex. After he had his really traumatic leg injury, and it when somebody has that much good to say about their mentor, he's a good guy. But it's funny because I have a picture of my wife, like 9 months pregnant with my daughter, with Alex Smith down on the field at Rice-Eccles Stadium during Fan Fest. And, I think my wife said he's the one man she probably would have left me for. And I was like, well, you're a little old for him, but, but I'll give you the pass on that one because he's a pretty stand-up guy.
So, has Alex ever come to one of your tailgating parties?
He is not. He is not. He has an open invitation, absolutely. The one we keep trying to get Post Malone. Post Malone is kind of famously called Utah home now. He
Okay.
lives just at the mouth of Big Cottonwood Canyon. We keep putting it out there. I'm like, Post Malone, you need to come, just hang out with us and have a beer. You don't have to play music or anything, but
Forum or anything, just
you're
chill, right?
invited. Yeah. So it's funny. We get a lot of local celebrities. We get a lot of like, local politicians and things like that come by, but um, we need some A-listers.
He's yeah, but Post Malone would probably be an A-lister for
He would
sure.
definitely be an A-lister. That would be one to hang our hats on for sure.
And I think he likes tailgating because, like, one of my friends went to his concert and brought me a shirt back, and it's a Post Malone tailgating shirt.
Oh
So
no,
I
I
was
know
like,
I have no doubt that he would enjoy himself. I have no doubt that he loves Utah. There's and there's a picture photo with a Utah hat on, University of Utah hat on, and he'd really enjoy himself if we could just get him to come out. So I'd also probably be mobbed, right? I mean, he's such a although, it's funny because he lives here and my friends will see him at the grocery store. I've yet to run into him. They have a Cane's chicken place that has his truck out front and is painted pink and has all the Post Malone memorabilia in it too. So he's become kind of a Utah staple. We just need to get him to make him a Utah tailgating staple as well.
So if nothing else during our podcast time today, we got to get Post out
Post
there. We got to
Malone.
get Alex Smith, and we got to get you
Yes.
a new griddle from Blackstone.
Exactly. This seems like a completely reasonable list of requests, is it not?
It'd be a really good 2025 if all that happens,
Look,
right?
if that happens, I will fly you out for if any one of those three things happen, I will fly you out for a Utah game. How about that? I got Sky Miles. I get
There we go. There we go. All right. So speaking of your tailgate, as we wrap up here, like for people at home that are like, like Ryan seems like a stand up guy. They got a good like tailgate watch out there, really good food and all that. Tell them one more time if they're on the fence about coming out to visit you and get some tailgating tickets.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest piece is I think there's a lot of assumptions about Utah, and people are like, I just don't know. Do they don't drink? Do they? But we absolutely throw some of the best tailgates in the country. The view from the Guardsman lot of the Wasatch Mountains is spectacular. We have amazing weather the vast majority of the time. Like the sunshine here is crazy. And so if you have a chance, if your team's coming to Utah, come on out and join us. And you can follow us on Utah Pig Bus on Instagram, or I won't tell you how to follow Twitter. Welby gets a little unhinged on Twitter sometimes, but check out our website and use Tailgate Connect. Tailgate Connect is just an amazing tool to link up with us, and we've already actually had a couple come in this season, and we're still 2 weeks out from the first game of the season. So yeah, it's you won't regret it. You'll enjoy yourself. Good food, good drinks, and just a fun experience, for the whole family.
Yeah, no, again, I'm already excited to get. Actually, I'm ready for you to get my flight out there, like you said a minute ago. So hopefully, some of that comes to fruition, and we can
Exactly.
link up some way this year.
No,
All right.
I love it. Well, thanks, Luke. Thanks for doing this. This is always fun to I think people don't understand how much fun this is, or honestly, I think a lot of people don't understand that we take it really seriously, and we put a lot of work into it, and I think people come up and enjoy the parties, and they don't always understand everything that goes into it. And so, just being able to create that network of other people doing the same thing is really fun.
No, I mean, that's one of the reasons that we started this podcast in 2025 is just that I feel like there's not really a tailgating podcast out
Yeah,
there. So it's kind of an underrepresented market, like millions and millions of people tailgate.
yeah,
But I don't think everyone there's some people that really take it seriously, like yourself, been doing it since 2004. The amount of work and passion and dedication and the stories that go behind that, I feel like just need to be heard, right? So I
yeah,
appreciate you
absolutely.
being on the show today.
No, it's great. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. All right. For everybody that stayed to the end of the show this evening, thanks so much for hanging out with myself and Ryan. And if you're ready to get those tailgating tickets for Utah or any of the other hosts we have out there in college or NFL markets, hit up tailgateconnect.com. Let us be your easy button tailgating solution. And as always, we hope to see you at a tailgate soon. Have a good one.
Tailgate Connect.